good Representative Dan Eubanks from the House of Representatives. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. Good to be here with you.
It's good to be with you, sir. Straighten me out on this. Investigate State Offices House Committee. What's the name of that committee?
Well, it's kind of a mouthful, I know, but the premise of the committee is we will go into state agencies and investigate. We have subpoena power, kind of do a deep dive and try to figure out where some of the dysfunction or maybe some accountability needs to be applied to some of our state agencies. And it's been around, I think, but it's never been a functional committee in the past. It's got new life breathed into it. And so our hope is if there's junk going down with some of our state agencies, we're going to get to the bottom of it and hopefully clean it up and do whatever we need to do to get our state running right.
This is the first year it's going to be reconstituted into something new with a little more power. And if
Right.
that's the case, you got anybody on your list to get your attention first?
Well, there's a few. We're looking into right now some of the policies that post-COVID, you have some folks that are still working remotely. We don't think that should be the case. That's one of the things we're looking into right now. But I mean, we're about to talk about our ABC Liquor Distribution Center. That might be one to even look into.
I want to talk about this, but this whole thing about this plane coming in, there's more to that, and I just sent this out on, and it can be revealed now that
right.
You want to tell folks exactly what you know about this, because we might be housing some of these illegals in Mississippi.
Well, and it was funny you were talking about it, and I've been banging the alarm on this for about 2 months. I have a really good friend who manages a commercial roofing company up here in the Mid-South, Memphis area. He calls me up. We're in session. He goes, "What the hell is this I hear? We're housing illegal aliens in the casinos." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" I said, "No, it's conspiracy theory. I'm sure somebody's." Besides, we have laws in our state that make Mississippi a non-sanctuary state and all of that. And I said, but I'll look into it. So I go and I talk to the local rep for Tunica. And the casinos are about 10, 15 minutes from my house. It's right on the Desoto County, Tunica County line. And he says, "Oh, man, somebody's just blowing smoke up your whatever." And I said, "Well, your supervisors or your county administrator, somebody would know something about it if it was happening." He said, "Well, hold on. I'm good friends with the county administrator." He calls him up. And he's sitting there going, "Yeah, oh, okay." And he gets off the phone. He goes, "You're right. Evidently, somebody from Benny Thompson's office was trying to orchestrate it." And, the old Grand Casino, which was Harrah's, and then it shut down, was the biggest casino development in our state. It was $1 billion. They had 2 golf courses, shooting range, almost 1,500 hotel rooms. Well, they've still got the convention center and the giant hotels. And what they were trying to do, or are trying to do, is to get that set up. Because imagine if you have 1,000 hotel rooms and you're getting a couple $100 a night to fill it up. We're talking 2,000 to 4,000 illegals they could theoretically put right here in Mississippi, in the Tunica area. And so I called the governor. I called Michael Guest. I started calling the supervisor. I was like, this isn't happening in our state. And so I didn't know there was an article that had come out until I clocked on here just now. So I'm going to go find the article and read it myself. But yeah, I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory. They are trying to stick them in Mississippi.
This is scary as hell. Number one, it's the poorest part of the state. That's the last thing we need. A lot of people are going to be making money, and nobody from Mississippi that we know of. Everybody else is going to suffer. This is from John Williams, the Conservative Coalition of Mississippi. Biden administration sending illegal immigrants to Mississippi. Yep. Federal agency is looking into housing illegal immigrants in the old Grand Casino in Tunica. Obviously, this would have a serious, significant impact to all of North Mississippi. They could house up to 2,000 immigrants at that hotel, and the owner would receive $150 a day for each. Supposedly, the owner lives out of state, so they likely want the money and are not really concerned about the local issues. Union County is, and he also writes on this one, second paragraph, Union County is about to receive 700 to 800 Guatemalans New Albany Methodist Church has offered to sponsor them. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I'm just reading this. State, federal,
Right.
and county governments in collusion with the Guatemalan government. Big federal dollars payout. Supposedly, the urgency behind Medicaid expansion was the influx in illegals, with the 138% addendum because of the fact that they would be sending all of that money back to their home country, and they could get free health care, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to read the rest of this when I'm not sure what's accurate or not, and I don't even know if anybody else has. Have you heard about the Union County part?
I have heard something about Union County, although I'm not familiar, but I mean, they are doing everything they can to try. When I was on the campaign trail the whole beginning of this year, I bumped into a couple folks. There's even down on the coast where they are trying to put in like a little tiny home community to stick them in. I've been hearing those whispers, but first actionable intel was the whole Grand Casino thing. So that's what I'm most familiar with. But here's the thing that most Mississippians don't realize is that, you know, if you bring in 2,000 illegals or 4,000 or however many, you can't deny them education. So now the school system in DeSoto County and Tunica County, if you have school age kids, we've got to educate them. And people will tell you that, you can't get Medicaid if you're an illegal, but that is not true either. And so there are all kinds of ramifications and costs to the state. But even to my area, you're talking 10 minutes away from Hernando and about 15 minutes away from Horn Lake, two major cities in our.
Dan, I got to back you up, and I'm pressing you because I wish we had a whole hour and a half on this one. Dan Eubanks, back up a little bit. You said something. Did you say that this was facilitated with the help of Benny Thompson?
That was what I got back through my other representative friend who had talked to their county administrator, that somebody from Benny Thompson's office was helping to facilitate it. Well, this is in his district, and I don't want to make accusations, but I'll just leave it at that. But I mean, there's got to be vested interest for why you would try to facilitate moving, thousands of illegals into your, be it on the voter level or on the financial level or whatever. It just smacks of.
Yeah, you and I play around with politics for a lot, so we can bounce this around. Let's see, Dan. I would think that it would pee off a lot of his constituents in the second district should he do this, unless he felt like he could do anything he wants to, make a heap load of money, and still win the election handedly. Am I on the right track on this?
No, you're absolutely on the right track. You think about it. I've talked to people. I don't know Benny Thompson personally, but I've talked to people that do know him, and they're like, he went into office not being worth anything, and he's worth millions now, and that doesn't just happen. And that seems to be the story for most of our congressional candidates or people serving in office and our senators, and it's sad, but this is just, hey, you're talking a lot of money, federal dollars that somebody's going to get rich on.
Have you heard back from the governor? Has the governor responded to this?
He said he would look into it. Last time I talked to him, and I was out there banging the gong, letting folks know that this isn't, this is right here. It's not Martha's Vineyard. It's not New York City. It's not places like that they're even trying to take and put it into our state.
And even though we have earlier, right?
Yeah.
From what I gather now, if the story this morning is right, they're either on their way there now or maybe even there.
Well, I plan on, I'm out of town right now, but I plan on when I get back doing a flyby and going and hands on, feet on the ground, try to take a look for myself and see what's going on. Because,
all right.
I mean, so what do you do? I mean, you got a convention center you can make a soup kitchen out of, I guess, and feed folks, but that's right there next to the hotels. But what are these people going to do? Just sit around in the Delta? We're just going to pay for them to just camp up in a hotel?
Part of this question is, why are they actually leaving the north and coming back to a different location? Is it a reverse migration to come back to another spot because where was this from? Massachusetts or where? I forgot where the state is they're flying from. But
I don't know, but most. most of these states that claim to be sanctuary cities, they started getting all this influx, and they're like, we can't do this. We need help from the feds, or take them. And so it all sounds good in theory when you want to have a soundbite, but then
well,
it
Ted
actually
Reeves
the
didn't
reality
do
of
anything.
it.
It was Abbott and DeSantis. I'm not sure why they're sending them to Mississippi, other than the Grand Casino probably said, look, we got this property there and we can make some money, and that's not good. We'll talk more about it and touch on the liquor situation too. Didn't realize we were getting off on this one, Dan, but
Yeah.
a good topic. More coming up next. Let me get back with Dan Eubanks from the House of Representatives District 25. All right, well, we're going to watch this. By the way, Dan, please do me a favor. Would you just text me anytime on any of these updates and maybe some cross references on this, and we'll stay on top of it. And if you don't have my cell number, get it off the air from Lance when we get through with the conversation.
Okay,
But,
I'll holler at Alex.
Fill me in on that, and I would appreciate it. So
I'll keep you up to date.
We know that this is happening. We know, and I'm reading just a lot of people who are chiming in on this one. Janet in North Mississippi just told me on C Spire text line, a reliable source told me last week the Guatemalan consulate is involved in bringing illegals to New Albany through the Methodist Church. Split faction. It was canceled last week. They canceled last week's delivery of the immigrants due to safety from concerns from the community not wanting them here. So I'm not sure if that's still going on or what. But this is something that apparently there may be some other avenues that they're trying above and beyond these that we don't know about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a lot of it's cloak and dagger. They want it by the dark of night, and that was one of the things that was told to my friend who they wanted a quote to come in and do some roof work. Was like, this needs to be done quick. It involves a federal contract, and kind of keep it on the DL. And when he asked him what was this all about, he said, I don't want it. I'm not coming to bid on it. And so whatever reason, well, I know the reason, because the average Mississippian doesn't want you dumping illegal aliens into our state. And so I believe that Senator Kathy Chisholm is much more familiar with the New Albany situation. You might want to have her on the show. She'd probably be able to get you up to date, because I did see something about that, and I hadn't had a chance to talk with her about it, but she was aware of what was going on in Tunica, because she and I are pretty good friends, and I was telling her all about that back when it was going down, and I just found out.
Dan, I mean, God bless people. I understand the Good Samaritan and everything else, but we just had a story the other day about the Venezuelans coming through and really causing a very serious concern with measles outbreaks, and they've centered this that almost 80 to 85% of these are coming from Venezuelans into the school system and causing a outbreak of measles for the first time in that area, and it's spreading. So your heart may be at the right place, but my gosh, it's just it is crazy. Go ahead.
It doesn't make sense, because you think about it, Paul. If you or I went fishing with our boat and our truck, and our license was expired by a day or two, they take our boat, they take our car. There are ramifications for not being, licensed, but you can come into this country illegally without documentation. You can fly on a plane, you get cash money basically from our federal government. What does that say to the citizenry here? And a nation is only as sovereign as its border. So what does that say about our country?
Well,
it's disturbing. It's on a lot of levels.
The people of the Mississippi, especially the African Americans who are fighting to get the limited number of jobs in the Mississippi Delta, is already to the point where it's critical. They're begging to get a few more jobs. If they could get any concern out there to add 25 jobs, people dance up and down, happy. And now we're talking about moving maybe 2,000 Guatemalans into the Grand Casino, the old Grand Casino. And by the way, are they just going to throw them in there, or has that company been doing some support as far as the restaurants, the heating and cooling, etc.? Do we know?
I I don't know. All I know is that it was actionable intel, that that's the overtures they were making, and that's what they were trying
Hmm.
to accomplish. The facilitation of it, and the facility's been sitting empty for years now.
Yes.
Although
Yeah.
I hear that
Well,
they
they're going to.
keep the ACs on or whatever to keep it, it's a pretty substantial uh, piece of property.
Investment, yeah.
It's huge.
If they've got to call a roofer to fix the roof, we know that they've got some problems. If that was if that was the
There's a
situation,
few
I'm not
things that
sure.
have to be up to par. Even the feds want to make
Yeah.
sure, I guess, that it's
Well,
livable
let me
before they.
say this: any members of our audience out there who have a line to Benny Thompson, I would get on the phone and I would call Benny Thompson right now. What he's about to do to his own constituency. We had one 601 said, "Watch out." The DNC is engaging in massive voter registration projects in and around Tunica. Well, that's kind of crazy, number one, because they've already got the last place they need a comfortable margin as far as Democrats is in the Mississippi Delta. This is all about the money at the casino. You see what we've done? We haven't taken one drink together here on this other subject.
Well,
Can,
let's do that.
can we do this? Can we reboot and come back maybe one day next week or the week after and spend more time?
Oh, absolutely.
Follow up on
Lots
this
to
one
talk
and
about.
the liquor situation. Dan, man, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. And safe travels back home.
All right, thank you, Paul.